Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Can I talk to you in your capacity as one of the leading figures in the Brexit campaign? Was Boris Johnson right to say that the European wants a super state, just as Napoleon, Hitler, various people did?
Well, Boris is a historian, and he was making a historian's comment. But the point
was
is,
he
yes,
right, is what I asked you.
There is a clear plan in Brussels as part of the need to support the euro to move towards much greater political integration.
Like Hitler
But that's
did.
a different story today. I mean,
No, it isn't. With the greatest of respect, this sort of thing is profoundly important, isn't it? If a leading politician says that the European Union draws comparisons between the European Union and one of the greatest mass murderers in our history, that isn't something we pass over in 24 hours, is it? Certainly Michael Heseltine doesn't think it is. He says it was outrageous.
Well, I think Boris has been somewhat misquoted, but the point that he was making was a very
what he
different
said?
one.
I wondered if you might say that, and I went to the top of getting the code. Napoleon, Hitler, various people tried this out, and it ends tragically. The EU is an attempt to do this by different methods. In other words, they are trying to do what Hitler did. I'm asking you whether you believe that Boris Johnson was right when he said that, and if you approve of it.
Well, but Boris was making a historian's point. Boris is a historian.
Was
what
he
I'm
right
interested
to
in
do
is
so?
what the European Union itself is trying to do.
Well,
which is
I'm
move
asking you whether
towards
he was
greater-
right to do so. Can we just clear this up, and then, by all means, let's move on. Was he right to draw that comparison?
Well, was it right for a historian to make a historian's comment?
I'm
Boris
asking you whether Boris Johnson, who is a politician first, and maybe he has some track record as an historian academically, but he is a politician, a very senior politician, was he right to draw a comparison between the European Union and Adolf Hitler?
Well, as I said, Boris Johnson was making a historian's comment about history.
You're
What
refusing to
matters-
answer the question, aren't you? That's the point. You know what I'm asking you. It is a very, very simple question. Was he right? I know what he did. You've just told me that 3 times. I'm asking you whether he was right to do it.
Well, what Boris was talking about was the reality that there is a drive towards greater political integration. Boris was making a historical analogy from a historian talking about a whole range of actions since the Roman Empire. He's a historian making a comment in his own words. My view is that we should be most concerned about integration in the European Union.
Right, so you're not concerned that he talks about Hitler in this context, the European Union in this context, as Michael Heseltine was?
Well, look, I'm not going to get into the discussion between
clearly.
Michael and Boris. What I'm talking about today is the government's agenda. While all this is happening, yes, we are having a lively debate within the Conservative Party.
No, you're having civil war, according to Michael Heseltine.
We're also getting on with governing the country, setting out an agenda to deliver a better security for our economy, better security for our nation, and an agenda that is about driving life chances for people from deprived backgrounds. That's what today is all about. And yes, we're having a lively debate about Europe, but we're also getting on with governing the country. And that's what people expect.
So Mr. Heseltine's wrong when he talks about civil war in the party.
Well, I want the party to have a proper debate about Europe. I want us then, whatever the result, to carry on with the job of governing the country. And today is all about demonstrating that we're actually doing that. That while we have a debate across our nation about Europe, we are also getting on with delivering what we were elected on a year ago, a manifesto committed to improving life chances of those from deprived backgrounds.
Chris Grayling, many thanks. And our political editor, Laura Kunzberg, is listening to that. What do you make of it, Laura?
Morning, John. Well, I think we've just heard just how difficult and squeamish this has all become for the Conservative Party. Chris Grayling clearly reluctant there to redraw the historical comparison between the EU's plans for further integration and what's happened in the past, whether with Hitler or Napoleon, as Boris Johnson invoked those historical comparisons in an article last week. You know, this has become a very serious war of words inside the Conservative Party. The governing party is busy campaigning against each other in a battle that has become bitter and personal. Feels to me it's already at DEFCON 1 and we've still got more than a month to go.